Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the finals playoffs for Due Process League Season 1. Me and Byakko here, Addax and Byakko, are going to be your casters today, and we have two exciting matches today. The first one is going to be the residing German team LCG versus one of the most dominant teams we have seen, the number 2 team Flatline today. So, Byakko, you got any opinions on this match?
I just, as always, want a good match. So just as a reminder, the winner of this match will go on to face DFC in the semifinals next week. Our other match coming into today. Tell us a bit about that, Addax.
So for our next match today, I believe it's set to be in an hour or two, is going to be Fluff versus Core Dynamics. Fluff is the only team that went 4-0 during the season, and whoever wins that match between Fluff and Core Dynamics will be going up against Status Quo, who actually upset Red Team yesterday 2-1, and that was a very intense game to say the least. So as of right now, we'll see Status Quo and DFC guaranteed a spot in the semifinals, and we will figure out today which teams out of Fluff and Core Dynamics and Flatline and LCG will move on to the semis.
Awesome. So we're just waiting for teams here to get readied up, and we should be like right into the action here any second now. And I think they are they're in the match, so let's jump on in.
So I just want to quickly go over these teams have some very experienced players. On the side of Flatline, we have Executioner, C34A, Josh, Mackie, and Volps. And on the side of LCG, we have El Pablo, Gramstall, Konaflecken, Lando, and Pies. So these teams are definitely some of the top teams, considering they made it to playoffs, and they are now fighting for a semi spot. So we'll see what they can do. And we're going to start off on Factory. This is actually a Factory we saw the other day in Status Quo versus Red Team. And some common takes were splitting servers and office, as well as just putting a lot of defenders in this dock and break room area. You see, there's only really 1 or 2 areas that you can go to in this site, because while the bomb is open, if the attackers decide to come from servers or office per se, you only have 1 or 2 options to get in the site. And some attackers tend to struggle with that because power is on 4 cliffs. And that means there's usually a defender there. So just pushing servers to 4 cliffs is not always the best idea. Or just going servers to site is not always the best idea. Docks is always an option, but then you'd have to do some extremely well-coordinated smoke lineups to be able to push into the site. But we haven't seen any teams do that yet, so we'll see if Flatline decides to use some of their explosive utility here, or if they decide to go for a default eco play, which is what it seems like for most teams. On the terms of LCG, it seems they placed their barbed wires perfectly. If they end up playing a player in office here off of this barbed wire that they've marked, they will perfectly counter the pincer sort of play that Flatline's looking for. As Flatline seems as if they want to go for an office take and pressure forklifts simultaneously, so they can clear out this line of sight here, and all they have to worry about is the cover in break room and dock. We may see a nade come out to cover that. Otherwise, it's going to be Flatline starting the push.
And here we go. Map 1, set 1, let's go. Flatline on the attack, gonna make their way around. I would have been worried a little bit about a grenade coming into office, but it doesn't look like they're gonna opt for that play just this early on into the match. Save some of the antics for later. But this map is very unique, though. It is very compact for a factory map and very vertical as well. So there they go, clearing into servers and storage. Pablo's gonna be the first one to make contact here. Flash going in. Pablo probably a bit blind. He's getting pinned in the corner and taken down. Good play there. 2-man advantage coming in now as Kuowen gets taken out, and the Germans are down to just 2 members left alive. Gramstall with the mop on smokestack. He's going to have to find some frags here. But there were 2 that went down from Lando, so he's even things up a little bit. Flashbang's coming out. They do have a presence on the bomb right now for Flatline. There goes the mop shot from Gramstall. Perfect. Right down on the C34. Joshua now just sitting on that corner. He's going to find the frag over on the Lando. He's now got Gramstall to worry about, but Executioner is going to be coming in on the backside. Shot rings out. Lots of damage. Only 1 HP left on the Executioner. Ooh. Gramstall can do this. Bomb defuse going out. Can he take the peak? No, it's going to be Joshua taking the peak up over the top of bomb, fires off a few shots, gets the kill on the Gramstall, secures round 1, but it was close. I mean,
Yeah.
half HP there for Joshua at the end. One more shot would have done it. And that comes at any point in the match. You know, one more bullet from any member of the defending side, and all of a sudden you're looking at a changed outcome.
Yeah, what Flatline did there is even though Executioner got taken out late in the round where it became a 1v1, he just held on the flank and was able to take out Lando from getting any kills on Smokestack, which kind of allowed that 1v1 to take place. And of course, you can't really take a pistol 1v1 at that far of a range unless you have a PK or an LS, which handed over the fight to Flatline with the health advantage. So good shots from Gramstall. Definitely supported the team there as well as Lando with the 2K. But the round ends up going to Flatline just because of that ranged advantage on those attacker guns. We are going to see Killhouse now. This is actually another map that we've seen recently, and it reminds me of another. So these lockers here on the western portion of the map, there's a very similar map where you can shotgun a red door through a window. So this locker section is very reminiscent of that. So we might see some lockers towards club play or possibly some lockers to office play. What we saw the other day in Status Quo versus Red Team, we saw both Red Team and Status Quo get stuck in this office, and they just kept getting Molotoved out. They just stalled the push for an extreme amount of time. So hopefully neither of these teams gets stuck here, but it looks like Flatline is opting for possibly another play for their economy. It looks like they might want to use all of their breach charges on the final C-Store round, which is a smart play considering on C-Store, you're going to want to do those double breaches to put more pressure depending on, you know, the size of the C-Store, considering some of the C-Stores that we've seen recently are a lot larger. But Flatline, it looks like they are opting for this hallway play, while the barbed wires on the side of LCG are going to be a bit more confined to the site. So we'll see if they decide to stack site heavy or if they have a bit more roaming capability, as it looks like only 2, possibly 3 barbed wires might come out. So a little bit more utility usage from LCG, but Flatline still having both their nades. We'll see if they decide to counter it.
And we will see the super shoddy coming out on the Gramstall auto shoddy, I believe I should say. But yeah, pretty tight-knit group there. They're all holding back on to the right side of the map, and that's pretty much what you want to see from them at this time. Take a few pot shots early on. Lockers in office, not as useful to hold, lockers especially. So they're going to give that up pretty quickly. So it looks like it's just going to be that quick push in. They don't have a shotgun to breach that door on the bottom side, but it will be a door breach coming in from C34. Here comes that methodical split push, but Volps goes down early. Trade coming back over on the days. Lando now going down as well. Joshua just raining in fire with the tar. It's going to be down to Pablo, Gramstall, and Flecken. I'm just that's a rough name to pronounce there. I'm sorry, Flecken. Shots being exchanged. One member of Flatline a little bit low, but we are seeing one member of LCG very low right now. And that's Gramstall with the knack. Taking a few shots into there, but he gets taken out by Mackie. And it's now a 2-on-4. And we'll see if Pablo coming in on this flank can do anything. Auto shot, he gets one. A little bit of damage over on Joshua. He's getting backed into the corner. Finds it on the frag. Pablo's gotten another one. It's evened up here. Pablo coming around the corner. Tries to finish off the last 2 members, but just excellent use of cover by Joshua and Executioner, and they pull out that round. They're going to save the super shotgun there, and you know that's going to be a weapon we maybe get to see used to great advantage coming into C-Store for the final map.
Yeah, C-Store is one of the smaller, more compact ones. That's going to be definitely strong. We are also going to see a knack picked up from Volt Joshua. That is a pretty popular gun among certain individuals in this. They can tap at long range, or they can go for the early picks. We did see the auto shotty as well as a flank from Pablo there. Per se, if Pablo were to come in just a second earlier as Mackie was rotating through the door, that kill could have gone out and Flecken would still be alive here. But Flatline, they just charged straight into sight, and they knew that they had to push that auto from 2 angles so they wouldn't get picked off one by one, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, Joshua just owned the top side there. Lando and Pies both found that out as they were taken down just within a matter of seconds. Probably the same magazine on the tar as well.
Yeah, LCG put up a good defense there, but I feel like the timing was just in the favor of Flatline there. They definitely had the coordination for their pushes, and if you would take note of the breach on Office, once they flashed office, they breached it. They did not breach it early and then go lockers. They opened the green door and then breached red, which gave LCG kind of this, okay, maybe a split, maybe not. It kind of gave that moment of hesitation, which splits can do that to almost any team if you're not sure where they're coming from. But C-Store, I'm not sure if the auto is going to be so helpful on this one, except for maybe in storage and office. And if LCG is aware of that, they're just going to be playing around storefront.
They ended up dropping the auto in the end, so they did not take that with them over on the Flatline.
So that's actually going to be in the favor of Flatline then, as no auto shotgun is going to be available to play in bathroom for either team. So we might see a knack come out here or there in bathroom. We may also see one in storage possibly. But in terms of layouts, having such an open storefront in this 2-lane layout that I call it, where you have one lane on the left, one on the right, and then storefront in the middle, is very hard to play for the defenders, as the defenders obviously don't have as ranged weapons, and if you end up C-Store being the final map before the side swap, as in this case, you're not sure if you brought AKs earlier on. Like, a lot of teams bring AKs and Igmars for factory, but then you can't use it on these bigger C-stores if you've lost that round, which is exactly the position that LCG is in. So they're going to have to play some very smart angles here, as Flatline is planning for a possible wall breach, as well as some pressure onto the freezer position. It looks like they want to ignore the storage and office side of the map, as they are aware of the close range guns that are going to be on the side of LCG. It does look like there is one Igmar out on the hands of Lando, and other than that, mostly short-range weapons except for Allegros on Pablo. We'll see how they can utilize this, though, as the push begins for Flatline.
And we're seeing them using a walk right there, right at the very beginning, not giving up any information. Here's going to come that breach out onto the windows of storefront. Gramstall's going to have his work cut out for him early. There goes the top side breach. Phelps using it as a distraction, and there goes the bottom side breach. Molly coming out. C34 on the way in, fighting it off with Gramstall. He's going to win that. But now taken down from long range. The Legros from Pablo coming into play. Evens things up here, and they're going to take a brief pause as they wait for those mollies to burn out. You still have Phelps on the top side, though. He can make himself a nuisance here if he wants to be. And here comes the push. Two members already deep inside. Flashbang off in the teller. Pablo engaging in that fight. He'll get a little bit of help from Flecken there on the backside. Pablo comes in as well for another kill. It's now down to Mackie and Phelps. Oh, but the kill through the glass of the freezer boxes there. He's going to find Lando. Pablo and Flecken now the last two left alive against Volps and Mackie. Volps still playing that role of kind of being more of a distraction and a threat. Mackie slowly makes his way around. They're in the dark right now. Let's see what they can do. Pablo's still sitting there unsure of where anyone can be. Mackie just inches away from him. Mackie makes himself known. Fight is traded. 1 versus 1. Flecken and Volps. And it's going to be Volps. He's going to win that fight. He's going to get the defuse on the bomb. No problem. 3-0 in favor of Flatline now.
Volps tried to back up Mackie there, but it ended up being an accidental team kill. As Pablo almost got the kill, and Volps was a little bit nervous. Maybe the confidence faltered a little bit, as the disadvantage was on Flatline that round with man numbers. So
you can see, despite the scoreline, multiple rounds coming down to 1v1 battles, these teams are very close to one another. Even again, if that scoreline isn't reflecting it, it is a tight battle here going on.
Yeah, the individual play styles of each of these players all reflect their team values and how they play together, which can determine a lot more than just how these teams play. It can determine how they go up against other teams, what situations they end up with in end rounds, and how they do their pushes. There's so many ways to develop all of these elements of the game that these teams kind of they flow together very well. And while we may see rounds come out one after another for one team, they usually end up coming down to these 1v1s and these 1v2s and very close situations. And that's what's been happening. We saw a 1v2 earlier, as well as just a 1v1 there. But now that the sides have swapped, we've seen all 3 rounds go to attackers. We'll see if that's just Flatline's luck, or if we'll see if that's just the attacker side, as we did see yesterday. Almost all sides of the final map in Status Quo versus Red Team went to the attacker side, except for one defense round for Status Quo. So back to this factory map. There is a little bit of concern from Doc from LCG. We did see them mark a line there, but Flatline gonna do some modifications to what LCG did. It seems they want to barbed wire the server double door, as well as keep an eye on smokestack. It seems like, because that is a very common position to hold in this map. It's always important to have a player in this sort of smokestack position. They can easily rotate to office if needed, and watch onto the servers or office push. Or if needed, they can drop down behind these silos here, or barrels here, excuse me, and watch onto dock position with a teammate in per se break room who can watch that, as well as servers from one position because of the cover that forklifts provides. It seems like LCG wants to go for a grenade play here. It seems like, and they've marked it for office. They're aware of the corners that will be played by Flatline, but will they assume which corners they are in? I'm not so sure, as Flatline's defense is looking fairly grouped together, 2 on these on the break room position with the mop, as well as 3 towards office.
Yeah, it's going to be Joshua here to face that nade. He's hearing a little bit of footsteps out there. And if he backs into that corner here in a moment, that could do exactly what it's meant to. Door breach going off. So this is a different strat than we saw before. Lando rushing in onto Joshua, gets the frag. Oh, that was aggressive if I ever saw it. And they've got full control of offense. But there comes the mop. Mackie in the back line takes out Pies just right through the window. One shot's all he needs. Execution now on the top side. So they're going to have to be aware of that window. They got to stay away from it, because they're pretty certain that Mackey's going to be watching it, but he's actually shifted down to watch the server doors. Fight still ringing out in office. Here comes Gramstall around the corner. Shot rings out, tags him up good. He's in a fight now with Mackey. Gramstall's going to have to back out and trade places with Flecken there. Flecken going to pick that fight over on the Vulps. Mop shot rings around again. All 3 members are very low right now. Flatline have easy chance to take this. 1 bullet a member. 2 left alive. Fight coming out. Oh man, Gramstall, he goes down from behind. It's now all down to Flecken. 10 health to his name against Mackie and Vulps, and I think they know that he's pretty weak at this time. Single shot coming out from Vulps finishes the round 4-0 in favor of Flatline.
Yeah, the push there was very strong from LCG. They immediately took out Joshua, which gave them the advantage, and Executioner having a little bit of aggression there actually paid off for LCG, but as soon as Mackie got shots off, they just stopped. They didn't know what to do from there, because when you have one member that low, you're like, hey, you don't have any utility. Do you either throw the body at it, or do you fall back? What do you do there? How do you work around not having utility and being low health? How do you get your teammate to help you in that situation? And because of that hesitation, instead of just trying to take a 2v1 on the mop, it ended up being 1-on-1-on-1, which dropped all the members of LCG down to 15 HP, as the mop does 135 damage for a body shot. And from there, it was just single shots. We saw aggression come out from Flatline. A pistol was pulled out and taken on the flank, where 1 kill was received or awarded to C3. And then a trade finally came out. But what do you do in that 1v2 situation at 15 health? Not much, especially against the mop and Allegros.
Well, let's talk about that mop for 1 second, though. It was Mackie, I believe. He got the first headshot kill clean.
It was.
But then he landed 3 body shots on the remaining members, and that just that left him in a rough spot, you know. But here we go on the kill house. 4 set points here in favor of LFG. They've got a pretty good chance of winning this one, I would have to say.
Yeah, I mean, LCG, they're definitely changing up the plan from what Flatline has done. Flatline decided to go for an office and lockers pressure, but it seems that LCG wants to actually save some of their utility here. They can fairly easily get into office without using a red door breach. They could just go into office, flash their teammates in, and kick open that door if somebody would like to go in. But because of this split pressure, it won't be too difficult for them. But Flatline, they are having a bit more aggressive barbed wire placements, as they are aware that if they stack up this round, that it's going to be over for the first set. So, interesting barbed wires. Sort of on the western portion of the map, we'll see hallway and office barbed. And if LCG doesn't decide to go for this office take, which it doesn't look like they are anymore, it's going to be very difficult for them, as the positioning on Flatline is very strong considering the weapons they hold. especially with Mackie still on that mop. A menace, to say the least.
Yeah, see on the top side here with a shotgun, or yeah, he can play spoiler. He's gonna be taking those peeks early. There, oh, there's a shot on a Pies. Pies is not having a good time right now. Flashbang goes out. 34 is just pinned in that corner. They're just gonna run in and maul him. That was expected, but he got the trade that he needed. Mackie now, he's gonna make a run for it. If they push around on him, he's gonna be in a rough spot with that mop, but he gets back. Chip damage coming out all over the place right now, but most of it's in the favor of Flatline. Joshua's making his presence known with the knack. Volp's there with the leg roast as well. Seeing a pretty slow push coming in. They're taking club. Fight in the hallway. Pablo wins that out on the Executioner. Attacker shotgun, just a brutal weapon when you get in a close range with it. See all three members of Flatline have kind of backed up on the bomb. Frag goes out, misses its mark, and Pablo goes down in the meantime. 2-on-2, now 2-on-1. First round, it's really favored LCG. Gramstall and Lando, they've got almost a full minute to work with. 40 seconds here. Mackie with the mop can play quite the spoiler to this, though. And here comes Lando pushing in, and they're just going to pin Mackie in the corner. Get the bomb defused. Finally a round on the board for LCG. Again, a little bit of a close one, but not as bad as we've seen some of these rounds when they came down to 1v1s with half health. But good for them to get a round on the board now. That might build a little bit of confidence, and they could easily turn this.
Yeah, strong round on the side of LCG. So, Mackie there at the end, we saw him sort of stagger positions between this office or should I take hallway, and that moment of hesitation gave the opportunity for LCG to smoke, and they didn't even have to flash to enter because, hey, if it's a mop, you give up one, and then it's a shotgun to the chest and Mackie's gone. So either way, LCG had a major advantage that round. They still had plenty of flashes to clear Mackie out, as well as they had to smoke just to make him think, which direction are they going to come from? Are they going to go hallway? Are they just going to push me through the smoke? And because of that moment of hesitation, there was no shot through the smoke. There was no chances taken. And the round was just given up to LCG, which is good for them, as that's going to be possibly the start of a comeback or the momentum finally being pushed over. And considering C-Store is going to be having a bit more utility usage now that LCG have played their economy round, we might see a wall charge come out as well as some sort of pincer maneuver. Keep in mind these freezer shelves are going to be opened, so you will be able to freely walk through those. We did see kills come out from here onto the bomb, but the positioning from LCG is looking fairly equal. It looks like they actually want to wall charge into tellers and open up this rotate here, the shutter rotate, which is a very interesting play. We haven't really seen any teams do that before. These shutter plays are always either a wall charge onto the main shutters, or hey, it's just like, I want to go grab a gun, can you open the button for me? And then they just rotate through it. There's no place that we have seen actually oriented off of these shutters. We may see a player from LCG split off into bathroom to kind of stall the peaks here as they get onto the bomb. And if that's done, that will perfectly give up the site, as tellers will be cleared out, these single rooms will be cleared out, and all they will have to worry about is the back of storefront and arcade. But you have cover from that on the bomb, which kind of forces aggression from the defenders of Flatline. And from there, if you know they're pushing you, you know when to peek, you know where to aim, you can easily pre-fire if really needed. And if LCG plays this right, it'll be a second round on the board for them. We'll see if Flatline can shut it down, though.
And we see Gramstall with the Saber on the bottom side, so shutters do get open. That's going to become a big factor. They do breach onto the bottom side, though, but it seems to be more of a distracting play.
It is a door charge.
Oh. Lando's rotated all the way around to the top side. So they're going to leave Gramstall on the bottom looking for peaks, and he's holding way back. Smart play from him. So there goes that breach on top. Executioner with the knack trying to get it off. This wall charge could be big if they put it down there. There goes the charge, and they've backed out. Perfect timing there. And it's going to be Executioner and C34. Mackie all chiming in. Molly goes in, traps 3 members. Oof. Fair bit of damage just went out there just from one Molly. It's not what you want to see right now coming out from LCG. Pablo just rushes in there. He gets taken out over by Joshua right through the freezer doors. And now it's Mackie on the Graham stall. The threat outside has been neutralized. It's down to Pies and Lando inside. Executioner. He's not going to find much more. Mackie up there on the top down as well. It's down on the Vulps now. Kills have been traded heavily. The bomb defuse is going to start being tickled here in a moment. It's down on the Vulps. It's going to make its way over on the freezer. He can shoot through those doors, remember. Lando on the backside of the bomb. Kills it for a few percent. Plenty of time left for this, and they're just going to have to engage on the Vulps. He's been taken down quite low by Pies. He's going to be flecking on the flank, coming around. Finally gets the kill, and there's going to be the bomb.
Yeah, a key thing I want to point out that round, as soon as they used a wall charge on Tellers, the players were forced out into Gramstall's vision. And the counterplay there, the playing off of those angles was extremely beneficial for LCG. And while we did see a straight rush into sight through shutters, that was kind of countered as C3 went for a flank, but the UAV had marked him, giving LCG the notification of, hey, watch your flank. And from there, LCG was just able to hold man advantage in a 2v3, bring it down to a 3v1 where they could just tap the bomb and force Vulps to peek out with the Lagros. And as we saw, the round got cleaned up there by LCG. Good work from them as they used some interesting cover there. The bomb was used as cover, as well as some good angle play there, playing off of each other, especially with that wall charge into Tellers, forcing them into Gramstall's line of sight. Good plays from them. They've definitely coordinated that push well, and we'll see what they can do on the defender side as the round swap has occurred again. This is going to be LCG's second defense on Factory, so we'll see what they revise here, as Flatline did win the first round. So we'll see how they modify their plan, as it looks like LCG is going to be going for similar, not exactly the same, but similar barbed wires, as Flatline has just decided to completely change up the plan. So Flatline may be aware of the barbed wires, and it looks like they have just opted, hey, we're going to go for dock, and from there, we can just push straight into sight. But it looks like the plan for LCG may be a bit different here. They have possibly marked a barbed wire on docks, but it looks like they're just going to stick with the plan, as some coordinated smokes are seeming to be marked on the map from Flatline. We did see a very well-coordinated triple smoke wall come out yesterday from Status Quo on a Factory dock push, but that was shut down by one player in an interesting position. So say if we were to see an LCG player in a position on north side of Smokestack towards this factory floor where these barrels are, or say we see somebody under Smokestack, under these railings, one player that is in an off angle could completely shut down a bomb defuse or even a push from Flatline. We'll see, though, as LCG's positions are looking pretty similar to what Flatline as well as LCG did on the very first round. So we'll see how it goes as Flatline and LCG match point.
This is something I was expecting to see. It's going to be Mackie with a Saber. He's going to be watching that topside window first and foremost. See if Pies and Flecken there, they've got the Ingmars. They can do some work with those. And there's a missed flashbang. That was supposed to go through, but it's not going to matter. Lando gets taken down. Ramstall's pinned in the corner, and it's already 3 kills in favor of Flatline. 4th kill coming in. It's over. It's over and done with in an instant. That was one of the fastest breaches I have ever seen on this game, and it was kills coming out from multiple players. It wasn't a one-man show there by any means.
Yeah, they went all out there, and because LCG double peeked that window, kills were just easily given up to Mackie. And from there, even though there was a Molotov to lower the players, Gramstall had no support, and he could just not take a 3v1. So Flatline, while they did get damage put onto them that round, especially by the strong Molotovs from LCG, they could not be stopped, as 2 early picks on the window just gave up the man advantage and gave up the round, because in a factory like that, you become so spread out when a pick occurs, and then you have nowhere to rotate. Your team is just split in half, and you either have to figure out some sort of coordinated pinch mid round, which is very difficult considering all the pressure that's on you, or you have to just YOLO go in and do 1v1s, and that's exactly what happened to LCG there. Flatline taking the first set 5-2. So impressive work from them, looking very strong as the number 2 team. But LCG putting up a fight so far, like you mentioned, those one-on-one rounds are very close. And if LCG possibly modifies their end round plans, possibly, or decide on doing different things in certain scenarios, or plan ahead for certain events, we might see a possible third map coming out as a Flatline, making their own mistakes. Obviously, there was a team kill on a C store, as well as some questionable cover taken, but some of it paid off as we saw Killhouse. C3 got kills off of an interesting angle on the north side of Killhouse, and we also saw some hesitation though from both teams. So we'll see what they improve upon on the second map, and we'll see if LCG can push it to a third, or if Flatline will just take it here in 2-0.
Yeah, and again, I hope LCG they probably are very very aware of this, that some of those rounds were so close to being in their favor. A 1v1 fight on 2 of those rounds, if they win it, now all of a sudden the score line is completely reversed going into that, at that final set of maps. So, it's just a little bit of luck there sometimes that you don't have on your side. And maybe they can find that in the second set, because I think they do have the skills and the abilities to push Flatline a little bit further and a little bit harder than they have been so far.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. The only teams that I would say are contending with Flatline are obviously the top 4 teams, but considering all the teams that are number 4 to number 8 are very closely matched in terms of statistics, it's hard to really make out which person's going to win in terms of 4th to 8th compared to 1st to 3rd. So Flatline, though, as the number 2 team, they've been looking fairly strong, as I'm pretty sure we're going to be jumping straight into the second game here. Any predictions for the second game, Byakko?
I think we're going to see a bunch more fights come down to 1v1s again. And that's going to be the problem in predicting, who you think can win, because as we saw last time, the 2 1v1 fights early on went in favor of Flatline, and that changed the scoreline around. I'm going to root for LCG on this one, and I think, maybe if they win those 1v1s, that can be the key to their victory here. You just don't want to see rounds like that last one come through, because that might have been a little debilitating to the morale if they just get rushed and stomped like that. They need to be ready for those kind of plays. They need to be on the ball and able to counter that, because if they're not, Flatline can just abuse that ability of theirs to just storm right in and just take shots and aim battles and win it out in a second.
Flatline completely changed the pace there in the final round, and it threw LCG off guard. And from there, I would assume that LCG can't do much, because being split up, like I said, on that sort of factory and just being rushed down the middle, it's hard to deal with because of that man disadvantage on such a large map. So we are going to start off as well as on another factory. This one is also going to have a smokestack. Recently, we've been seeing power on these toxic bridges very often, but this one has an interesting feature to it. This is going to be Lawful Ghost as our layout. And what happens here is there's a railing here, and I can almost guarantee you that you're going to be able to jump over this toxic right here. So if the attackers would like, they could push straight into toxic, smoke this, and just take power and jump right over. And they could either say wall charge into sight, or they could go for sort of split pressure on servers, as the only very open part of this factory is going to be bomb side, as generator does have 2 lanes here with the generators in between. So not too much long range conflict is going to be occurring here, unless we see a player on docks per se holding servers, or if we see some sort of late bomb play at that. So in terms of what Flatline's planning for their attack, it does seem like they want to go for some sort of split play here. Power is definitely an option for them, but not knowing what type of layout C-Store is yet is going to be a little bit difficult for them. There's always that moment of hesitation where you're like, hey, should we bring night vision? We don't know what C-Store is going to be like. I don't know. We're playing an eco play. So it's really a hard decision, but any advantage you can get in this game, you need to take it, obviously, unless you're cheating, of course, but I don't think any of these players are onto anything like that. But we we might see interesting utility usage as Mackie does have the Saber. So we might see a split, or we might see some interesting smokes come out from Flatline this round.
We'll have to wait to see what they do. This is something that Flatline does well. They do a 4-1 split, and they oftentimes will have Mackie as that fourth person coming through. Saber peeking around. Is he trying for a cheeky little grenade? Oh, he's going to be smoking with that. Very good use of utility there as we see that come out. Flashbang coming in, smoke going out. There's going to be full control of Toxic. LCG just not even going to contend that, and this time they've got to be worried that Toxic's taken over. Here's going to come the power flick. We'll see if these flares come out at all, and there's one right into the smoke. So that's going to illuminate anybody coming through that doorway, but Volbs is snuck out on the bottom side. First fight, though, Pablo on the bad side of that. He's taken down in an instant. Volbs wins the next fight over on the Gram stall. Flatline starting this round off in force. 3 members now already left fighting for their lives here for LCG. It's going to be Pies chiming in through the door, but he's got 2 coming on the bottom side. Oh, and look at that. A double kill from Flecken on the bottom. That might have just saved the round for a moment here, but it's still a man down for them. They do have full health, and there has been decent chip done over on the Flatline. And they've just backed up onto the bomb at this point. And C is going to come down on the bottom side, try and make a little push there. See if that Igmar can do some work again. Executioner and Joshua on the top side. It's going to be Lando up there, and there comes the kill. Flecken picked up 3 already, but Frag's coming his way now as Joshua gets that, and Joshua finishes it off. He's going to finish this round with a 3K. Flecken did everything he could in that round, but it's just not going to be enough as the first round of this side goes over to Flatline, and they're going to be in the 1-0 advantage.
Yeah, strong plays from Flatline there. We did see Flecken get 3 kills for his team there, but it's going to be a rough start for LCG as Lando just can't take that 1v2. Having that buddy system there is really difficult to counter, as in this game you're not really able to do spray transfers as effectively, considering the current state of hit reg and how servers are. But taking those buddies with you can really help, and we see a lot of trades. That's how that occurs. So some strong fights from Flatline. We're actually going to see a 2 versus 1 instead of a 1 versus 1 this time. So one of the better rounds from Flatline so far. And considering
I'm not sure if you noticed at the end, but they did save the mop and the saber, so that's going to possibly be a power factor as we get over onto one of these maps, or just they might not use it at all.
Considering C-Store is sort of a sideways layout, I would say Storefront is sort of east to west instead of north to south per se. We might not see very much play come out of the Saber or the Mop. We did see yesterday Status Quo decided to push 2 players to power here, as well as push 1 player with the Saber to watch 1 long line of sight here as they went for the bomb. So we might see something similar to that, as while Flatline did only have 2 players left, they are both going to have night vision on them. So we might see another power play possibly, or we might see some sort of a save for Killhouse. But considering Flatline were up for I believe 4 rounds before LCG got there first, I think they're just going to go straight in with their utility, and they're going to try to get all 3 attacking rounds again. As LCG, it seems they've prepared for this line of sight that I've mentioned, as the barbed wires are going to be directly on the bomb. So we'll see how they play off that, as the rotate and freezer is going to be strong for them, but it also can be strong for attackers, as there is a possible car peek right here. What some C-Store maps have is there's a car outside, and you'll be able to peek in through these upper windows here on the north side of the map if you decide to get that height elevation. So we might see some play off of freezer and arcade for both the attackers as well as the defenders. But 3 barbed wires from LCG, they really want to stop this round. No auto shotty though, so we'll see what they can put up here, as it looks like Joshua's starting it out.
Yeah, just a little breach on the shed, but they're not even going to use it. Just keep the notion that they could push there at any time. It's actually going to be the storage side push from the look of it. Ramsdell is going to be pinned in that corner now. He's going to have to make a decision here very quickly if he wants to take this fight or rush out. And there he is. I mean, the fight's coming out. Wallbang's coming through. Gramstall in a rough spot. Comes around the corner, instantly taken down by Mackie. It's going to be Pablo, though, trying to take a little bit of a fight there now through that doorway. Flashbang coming in the freezer. Molly going in and out to stop that topside push. All 4 members of LCG back up. There goes the fight that they need. Lando wins it out over Volps. And now it's Pies, chimes in over on the C-34. Mackie as well tries to go in, second guesses it, but a frag comes out in the meantime. It's out all down on the Flecken. Things have changed in an instant. They had quite the advantage there on LCG, but it's Executioner and Joshua hunting down Lando. I'm not sure if they know where he's at the time. Power goes out. Flecken's just going to have to play this perfectly if he wants to come away with a win, but a shotgun and an AP-25, it's not a nice set of weapons to be fighting off against.
Just want to say, keep in mind, there's only one angle that they can hold this from, so they'll have to take a direct fight with Flecken to win this one.
Bomb being tickled. They know where he's at. And there's Joshua. Shotgun rings out. Ends the round. 2 kills for Joshua, 2 for Mackie there on their way to victory. Pies tried what he could there early on, but then was countered by Mackie, and it's just going to end up being the second round going the way of Flatline. They're starting to run away with this a little bit.
Yeah, what happened there is Mackie had actually thrown a grenade to Pies' position as he was peeking it, and he was hoping that nade would clear him out, but Pies just stuck there, got the kill, but at what cost? At the cost of being grenaded and then giving up man advantage. So, because of that single trade, the round started to swing in the favor of Flatline, and since those last 2 players of Flatline could just pick up night vision from their teammates' bodies, they hit the power, instant advantage in a 2v1. That basically makes it a 3v1 in that case because of how powerful power is now on Factory as well as C-Store. It has gotten a lot darker recently, so night vision, a key in both Factory and C-Store for Flatline's victories, and no power here on Killhouse, but there is always the opportunity for a button. It doesn't seem like there is one, as Bomb is going to be in a very wide open area. So we'll see something interesting here from Killhouse, at least in most Killhouses. It does seem like Flatline want to go for a direct breach into site possibly, but we might also see something on training. Now, having a map like this means there's gotta be a lot of lurking pressure on the right side of the map. But if you don't have enough players in sight, they can immediately just overpower the site and then just funnel you in through stage and office, which barbed wires in those positions from LCG could eventually come back to bite you if you decide not to stack the site. Especially with the play that Flatline's doing, they're opting to wall charge the stage. And this may be a little bit interesting, but if you decide to wall charge a stage, you're going to have to crouch jump into it. You're not just going to be able to walk in because of that elevation difference. So that moment of slowness for Flatline, where they all have to stack into backstage or into the wall breach, could be the key opportunity for LCG to pick up their defending round here. So Flatline going to be using a lot of explosive pressure here, but it seems they also want to put a little bit of pressure on reception, excuse me. They want to pull LCG out of the site, and then they can just breach, but it looks like LCG is perfectly planned for this. They have 4 players onto the site, as there's only going to be 1 lurker in that office position. It's going to be Gramstall with the auto shotgun. We'll see how the breach goes for Flatline though, as Executioner does have the wall charge.
And here's what I was expecting to see, because this is a longer range fight. We see both the Black Tars, or I'm sorry, the Saber and the Mop coming into play here. There's going to be the door breach, as we talked about on the stage. I'm waiting to push the button here. And there it goes. Door breach in. Let's see what kind of utility comes out. There goes 2 mollies out instantly. C-34 on the receiving end of that, but there goes a frag out over on the Pablo. I don't know if he was expecting a nade to be coming that way, but at least it's him and not right into the back of club. Auto shotty ringing out, doesn't get a whole lot. Mackie goes down, but he's instantly traded off. And now the fight's just ringing out. It's all down on the Lando. Flashbang's coming onto him. 3 members all rushing in on this position at the same time. There's nothing he can do. It's going to be the 3-0 yet again in favor of Flatline. They're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Gramstall almost shut down that entire round. We saw 2 Molotovs come out on stage as well as the left side of stage. That immediately dropped C3 to 1 HP, where he was taken out by Lando as the initial pick. That breach from Flatline could have gone completely differently, as the lurker, Gramstall, on the right side of the map, put a lot of pressure as soon as they got pushed out, and that could have completely changed the outcome of the round. So the concept was actually there for LCG. It's just the execution couldn't be done as Flatline just decided to go all in, and it was an intense round for both teams.
Very much so. And I think maybe one of the issues could have been that both mollies were used at the same time. I think if they had maybe talked ahead of time and known, hey, throw that if they come through here, throw yours first, I'll throw mine second. We'll hold them off a little bit longer. But they still did get entry in there, and it was just a matter of, shots being placed exactly where they needed to be that won the round there for Flatline.
Yeah, it's a good start from them, as it's going to be another 3-0. Back to factory, though, as LCG is now residing on the attacking side. So we'll see what plan they decide to conjure up here, as it seems they want to go for something similar, but instead of a server's take, it will be a toxic take for power. We are going to see a lot of worry about this generator position, and possibly some nade play coming out, as there are lines drawn through these windows here. Not much concern for Docs, though, as Flatline is starting to fancy up. They're putting a little bit of makeup, some barbed wire onto servers, which might not be of very much help if LCG decides to stick with the door breach this round. So, as I said, bomb in an interesting position on this on this right generator side. A lot of open space there, but not much on the left side of the map per se. And that'll be advantageous for the attackers mostly, as while the defenders do have close range weapons, they won't be able to hold on the bomb site, as unless they stick directly on the bomb, those close range weapons aren't going to be very effective there, and they'll have to stick around servers, dock, and toxic. So we might see Igmars come out, we might see Allegros or two, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a mop on Mackie here, as it looks like LCG is opting for that door breach, and we'll see how Flatline reacts to it, and see if they push map point here, or go for something else. Mackie actually not opting to pick up the mop, going with the Allegros.
Volp's here in a guaranteed suicide position. There's no way for him to escape once a push from either servers or toxic begins. So he's gonna try and get some frags and then die, essentially, I think is gonna be a plan. But he's actually moved around now into a little bit better position. Joshua and Volp's there. Gonna be the first counters to this push. It's gonna be Joshua taking that fight. Deals a whole lot of damage out to Pies. And they're gonna make their way around, and here comes the long-range weapons, all ringing in. 3 kills in an instant. Executioner and Joshua just chiming in there. The flashbangs come in way too late. A frag, though. Oh my goodness. That was a 3-man frag. Lando, he's just evened it up. There's a chance here for LCG to pull this back. Smoke goes out. Maybe push around into that. Joshua's in the smoke, lurking with the Kruber. Lando comes in, finds the fight. It's down on a Mackie now. I don't know how they turn this around. Pablo in a 1v1. Where have we seen this before?
Both full health.
Mackie and Pablo. Mackie being sneaky as he can, coming around. There goes the fight ringing out. In the favor of Mackie so far. 1 shot landing. Nothing from Pablo. Pablo making his way around, though. Mackie's maybe predicted this. Very tense 1v1 fight. Still plenty of time left on the clock, and here comes Pablo up the stairs. Knows where he's at. Pablo wins the fight. And I don't know how, but LCG turned that around. A 3-man frag grenade from Lando comes in and picks up the 4th kill, and then Pablo to finish it off. That's the luck we were talking about needing sometimes. You cannot predict when a frag is going to go into a window and take out 3 people after you've already lost 3 of your own members. Very well played from LCG there.
Considering the callouts were there, that 4 people were there, Lando may have actually just been going for a full ace. Like you said, there's obviously that small factor of luck there, but when everybody's stacked on that position and they're just waiting for the final kill, that is the perfect opportunity to just chuck a nade in. And hey, since the flatline's partially low, you might get some free picks. And what do you know? It turned into 3 kills for Lando. Him pushing into the smoke, getting a 4th actually, catching one of the members of Flatline off guard. and a tense 1v1, but the Lagros not very effective at close range, which ended up giving LCG their attacking round for this. We may see a 3-3 if its attacking side keeps the wins going. So to see Store though,
Seen a little of the banter there. Even Flatline were impressed by that
yeah,
frag grenade, calling it a tactical nuke and all that. And they're not wrong. That was very well played. And as we saw, it was called out. That was a practice set nade that LCG had in store.
good work from LCG. They definitely coordinated that together. Well, there's always that small bit of luck, like you mentioned, that is incorporated to hitting those perfect nades and making sure they don't and accidentally hit the excuse me, I'm not sure what to call them, dividends of the window, I would say, the partials that block the window. Good nade usage, to say the least, and it gave LCG the round. But we'll see what they can do with their nades on C-Store, as there's not a skylight on this one, but there is a possible arcade play here in store, as LCG may just be opting for a wall charge and smoke onto storage. Doesn't seem like they're concerned about power much at all, as Flatline may be in the position to watch storage, but not for a direct storefront breach. The reason we don't see a lot of storefront breaches here is because of those freezer positions, and it looks like that LCG is aware of it. Rotating through this freezer position is very effective for any sort of flank, as well as just in general lurkers. Some teams will just get completely wiped on storefront, but if there's a freezer line of sight onto the bomb, you can have any lurker that's left over at the end of the round just rotate over into the freezer position, and then just stall it out until either the bomb goes off or the attacking team is forced to push them. So that might be something we see here, as Lando's going to put the charge down and start it out.
Here we are, 5-man stack right on the breach. Mackie taking cover behind the bomb. 2 members rush in, but the rest are mollied out. I'm sorry, 3 come in. Fight breaking off in a hurry. Frags being traded all around. Pablo tries to make his way around, but it's going to be that super shot he's coming around, or the auto shotty, I'm sorry. And Gramstall now making his way in, trying to take up the fight over on the freezer. See the bomb being tickled by Flecken, but he's taken down from the backside. C34 just running through with the auto shotguns. Picked up 4 kills right at the end. Oh my goodness. Just brutal usage of that super weapon, and secures 4th round for Flatline. I thought they had a chance there for LCG, but C34, he chimed in that round, just told him, no, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that Molotov completely divided LCG, and while they did get the initial picks, especially on Volps, they were lurking in the smoke. We saw the auto shotty just completely shut down the push. We saw one single player from LCG push the auto with no backup and no flashes actually going off on the auto. We did see one towards Tellers, and while that does affect into freezer, it's not going to be enough to stall out that auto shotgun enough to peak it. And when you miss that one shotgun shot, there's almost no pressure onto the auto shotgun, and from there it's just free reign for the auto shotgun. Like I mentioned, that those free rotates were just completely open for Flatline to play off of, and that's exactly what they do, shutting down pays at the end of the round. So we'll see if LCG can possibly bring it to a third here, or if Flatline wants to shut it down early with an even stronger score line than last match. Both these teams being fairly warmed up, and the only matches that we have or the only rounds that we have not seen very close endings is, I would say, Flatline on that last round in the 2v1 with the auto shotgun, and especially the strong positions, as well as that factory push at the end of the first game where we saw just four men still alive for Flatline. So we'll see if the take varies at all for LCG here. It does seem like they want to put a little bit of pressure on the lurkers. They are aware of the wallbang capability here, and it seems like the wall charge is just not going to be opted for, nor is a door charge, as while barbed wire might go off towards training, they're not going to expect, Flatline is not going to expect just a straight push from reception into training. They would most likely expect some sort of split pressure, as most teams do. But we might see some off angles held here that actually catch LCG off guard, as Flatline definitely looking to shut it down. 4 barbed wires coming out, double barbed wire on stage, 1 on kitchen and 1 on training. While only 3 of these are going to be effective against LCG's push, We are going to see some very good off angles being held, especially C3 on the auto shotgun by reception, as well as Volps just holding a hard angle on office with a shotgun as well.
Volps, if he gets the call, he can wallbang that entry into stage pretty quickly. But here we're going to see the round start off. Hayes goes down early. It's not what you want to be seeing coming out from LCG, but they can turn it around. C34 still on that auto shotty. So we've seen him bring it over around. A lot of damage coming out. He's going to make his way out of there as Flecken took the bad side of that fight, and now finally C34 dealt with. Gramstall pushes around the corner, one shot onto Executioner. But now the Ingmar is just blasting through. There goes the mop shot from Mackie, right through that little gap in the stage doorway. Another mop shot rings out, misses this time. A lot of damage coming out though from Joshua, and Joshua picks up the final 2 frags. Win for Flatline.
For Flatline there. Impressive work from them. And it's going to be 5-1, an even stronger scoreline than the last match. So a good job from them. That double barbed wire especially helped them on stage at the last few seconds of the round. That double barbed wire, just as LCG pushed, it just allowed Mackie to reload over and over again. It gave him the time just to continue getting shots off, and it won them the round. So good work on the side of Flatline. It is going to be Flatline to win it out 5-2 and then 5-1. 2-0 for them. Impressive work to say the least.
It's a very well put up fight though from LCG. We have to give credit to them. We saw some brilliant plays throughout the matchup from them, and definitely some great gun and gameplay. So definitely looking forward to seeing them in the next season. I hope they improve and give every team a run for their money. They definitely have the skill cap to do it.
I am pretty sure that's actually going to end up being Flatline versus DFC for our semis next weekend. So that's one of our semis set up. DFC versus Flatline. Guacamole and LCG going to be knocked out in the quarters. And we'll see if Fluff or Core Dynamics goes up against Status Quo here in a moment. I would love to get an interview, but it seems we're not going to have the chance to do that, as right now we just need to get right into the second game. I'm pretty sure both teams are already preparing, getting onto the servers. So we'll see what we can do for the next match. As Flatline taking a 2-0 there. Good work from them. And I think before our second game, we might be going to a short break. But keep in mind, this is going to be a close game. Core Dynamics versus Fluff. Some of the better teams in the league here. So make sure to stick around, as we will be right back after this break.